maybe listen to me speak, yeah. No matter what, just let it go.
Pop, persuadable. What's going on, boo-boos? Boo-boo got boo-boo, the boo-boo got boo-boo. I said the boo-boo got boo-boo. You know you're beautiful. And I got a good video coming your way. But before, my dad joke that I just Googled that I'm going to pretend like I made it myself. I tried to go cooking the other day. And the recipe said, set the oven at 180 degrees. So now I can't open it. What's going on, everybody? So we know that there has been a recent update within Identity V with the Gardener, and that update has essentially said that if you take the rocket chair down, kind of like a booty twerk, it will increase the rocket speed duration by 10% or delay. No matter how you want to say it, whether you want to say tomato, tomato, Coke, Pepsi, girlfriend, side chick, all the same thing. All right. So with that being said, I wanted to look at how long it took to kill some of these survivors on the rocket chair. And not only did I want to look at their base values, so that means, okay, I put you on the rocket chair. How long does it take to get to halfway? And how long does it take for you to get to your ultimate demise? Not only did I want to look at your base value, okay, but I also wanted to look at what would it be like if you had Snooze. Now, for those who don't know, Snooze is this perk, this on the persona build that has been utilized, especially on the Chinese server, for a very, very long time. And that decreases the rocket speed duration by 3, 6, and 9%. So I was like, okay, we got a bunch of things here. I would like to see what it's like to kill these survivors on a regular base value. Then I would like to see how long they survive on the rocket chair with Snooze maximized. And then I would like to check them if the Gardener dismantles a rocket chair and then the Hunter has to repair it and then put you down. All right, so if that's getting a little confusing, remember that there are some survivors out there. Reduces the amount of time or increases the amount of time that it takes for them to die on the rocket chair. The Gardener has one that's 10%. I believe the Coordinator should still have one. And the Mercenary is actually all the way up to 30%. So that got me thinking, all right, well, if we have these characters at a base value, right, we know that if I put the Thief on the rocket chair versus a character with an a delay in the rocket speed duration, then that character is going to take longer to kill in the rocket chair. But then when we start adding the persona traits such as Snooze, and then if we add the new buff of the Gardener, where what she does is she dismantles a chair and adds another 10% to it, how long is it going to take to actually kill some of these survivors? So first off, how about we put Thief? So the first thing that I did is I put Thief on a rocket chair, or rather, Call Me Duty put me on the damn rocket chair. I'd like to give a shout out to Call Me Duty and Marima. They're both very good players and YouTubers. You guys can check their description, check the description link for their links. I really, really enjoy playing with them, and they've helped me out tremendously. So anyways, I wanted to look at, okay, what is the normal value? What is the normal value? And before I say what these values are, I actually want to tell you how I quantify this. So I took video footage of all of this, and then I broke it down to 0.001 frame per second. Okay. And what I did is I did not count the rocket chair duration by the amount of time for the animation to start to put you on the rocket chair. I actually quantified this, so I'm explaining my methodology. I took this, so what it did is right when your meter starts on the rocket chair, like when you actually start dying, that's when I started this. Okay, so I didn't start it by when they first put you on the rocket chair. I started it by when that meter on your logo first starts, and then I calculated halfway point by 0.001 frames per second by looking at each individual frame until that halfway meter mark disappears. Okay, so it's very, very concise. And then when you die, I looked at it again from 0.001, so each frame per second, if you will, or less than that, and I made sure that it was the exact frame that changed from you still having an indicator versus your indicator turned an X. So I made this as concise as humanly possible to get these numbers. Furthermore, within the chart, I also rounded it for the most part. So if there's a number, you know, that's like 59.98, I might just say 60, you know. Really don't gotta worry too much about the difference in the numbers. I want to make the charts relatively simple and easy on the eyes. Okay, so that was my methodology. All right, so when we took the thief, we realized that for the most part, it takes 30 seconds to reach halfway and it takes 60 seconds to reach halfway. So then that got me thinking, well, what is it going to take for Gardener? Because Gardener has an innate ability where it increases it by 10%, okay, or delays it by 10%. And we know that for Gardener at her base value, it's 33% to get to halfway. And it's 66 seconds, sorry, not percent, 66 seconds to get to the end. So Thief was 30 seconds and 60 seconds, and Gardener was 33 seconds and 66 seconds. Okay, so pretty much Gardener's 10% buff allows her to live for an additional 6 seconds on the chair. Mercenary, I gotta look over here. Mercenary was about 42.8 seconds and 86.6 seconds. All right, that is because Mercenary, so these are just their base values. They're no snooze, no rocket chair destruction. Okay, so that's just their base value. So Mercenary would be 42.8 seconds and 86.6 seconds. And then that got me thinking, okay, well, what if we add snooze to all three of these? No rocket chair dismantling, just snooze. All right, and the reason why I wanted to check this is because Lawyer now can go in for a rescue without being terror shocked, which is going to be interesting about the meta shift, because for the longest time there's been times where you got to go in for a rescue and you don't want to wait until the last moment because it's easier for a hunter to terror shock you. So now there might be a coordinated effort here where you actually can wait until the last second, or not the last second, but maybe the last 3 to 5 seconds, if you put Lawyer in this sort of route, because now you don't got to worry about the terror shock as much. Now you still got to worry about Ripper and you know, and Clown hitting you before you get to the chair. That's a different thing. Okay, so what we have is that with snooze, and I do gotta look, I have all my notes handwritten. With snooze, okay, that's when so snooze increases it by 3, 6, or 9%, depends on how many traits you have. With snooze, Thief is 33 seconds and 66 seconds, so you pretty much become a Gardener with her innate ability. So with snooze, you essentially just become Gardener. But now Gardener with snooze, increasing it by 9%, which would make her at 19%, she goes to 37 seconds and 74 seconds respectively. That's a big boost. And then I was thinking, well, what is Mercenary with snooze, just for shits and giggles? I know it doesn't matter as much because a lot of hunters aren't going to go after Mercenary anyways. I just wanted to check. And Mercenary with snooze would essentially be approximately 49 seconds halfway and 98 seconds the rest. That's a pretty big value. So then I was wondering, okay, so what about Gardener's buff? All right, so again, let's backtrack. So for Gardener, she has a buff where she can dismantle a chair and the hunter has to fix the chair and put the survivor on the chair. It will reduce that countdown by 10%, or rather it'll increase the duration by 10%. The wording on that's very tricky. So essentially you last 10% longer. So I was like, okay, so what if Gardener takes down a chair and then I add snooze? That would be a 19% increase in the rocket chair duration for just a regular character like Thief or Priestess or any of the characters that don't have any special traits with the rocket chair duration. So it'd be a 19% increase. And essentially, that makes them pretty much where a Gardener is with snooze. It makes them at 37 seconds halfway, and it makes them at 74 seconds halfway. I mean, fully. But then I was like, all right, well, what about Gardener with Snooze with dismantling the rocket chair? That would essentially be a Mercenary at its base value, right? How does that work? Well, Gardener has a 10% increase to that duration innately. And then if you use Snooze at 19% or 9%, that makes it 19%. And then if you dismantle the chair in time, that's another 10%. That's 29%. Mercenary is at 30%. So Gardener would go from 42.2 seconds to reach halfway to 84.4. It would take 85 seconds to kill a Gardener. Now that halfway mark is important because sometimes they get rescued a little shorter and then they get put back on the chair and then you know, okay, I have another 42.2 seconds. But then I was like, all right, well, what about Mercenary? Where is Mercenary in regards to Mercenary, Snooze, and the dismantled rocket chair? So Mercenary has the innate 30% increase to rocket chair duration. Then Snooze would be another 9%. So that would be 39%. And then if Gardener dismantles a chair, that would be another 10% on top of that. So it'd be a 49% increase to the rocket chair duration. And the Mercenary would actually go from 58.8 seconds, or halfway, to 117.6 seconds. You're on live feed, I said 107. I'm not going to lie, I fucked up. Seconds. Now there's a bunch of problems with this methodology. You got to worry about whether, you know, they go on the same rocket chair for the second duration. You know, that's not always going to work, right? So I think the halfway marks are more important than the full marks. Because, like, for instance, as an example, say if a thief gets hit, all right, and then goes down, and then the Gardener dismantles that rocket chair. Thief gets rescued, and now Gardener goes in for the rescue. All right, and then the thief immediately gets hit. Well, if that thief runs away and then gets put on a different rocket chair that hasn't been dismantled, all right. Well, if that thief is going on a chair that has not been dismantled, then that means that it reverts back to his original, you know, base value of 30 seconds. So that's why I wanted to like separate this in half to see what the 30-second values were or the halfway mark values were, because those will be a little bit more realistic. Most characters don't use Snooze on the NAEU server, but if you end up doing it with actually, if they do use, yeah, so if they don't have Snooze but it's broken, then it'll give them like an additional 3 seconds. That's about it. But it was interesting to look at that just to see how broken it was to see Mercenary with a Gardener with a whole bunch of broke. Anyways, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I figured it would be fun just to see how long it would actually take to kill these survivors, whether Snooze is worth using if you want to increase your duration by an additional 3 seconds per halfway mark. It's up to you as to whether you would use that. But if Gardener can dismantle a chair, that makes it very, very interesting, because then if you have Snooze and you dismantle, it'll buy you an additional 14 seconds in total, 7 seconds per halfway mark. And that is very powerful if you put that in combination with a lawyer that can wait until the last 3 or 4 seconds to save you because he can't get terror shocked. Is this going to be a creative way that players can utilize this to their advantage to really maximize the amount of time it takes to rescue? I know it's not meta. I know it's not a guard. I mean, I know it's not S tier characters, but it's just still very interesting to look at. Anyways, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I'm going to try to add a whole bunch of shit to the side so we can break that math down for you. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting me, and you all have a very good day now. Bye-bye.